Hello, and I'm just realizing. There, how's that? That probably sounds a little bit better. What's going on, everybody? Jesse Montano here. The Avs just traded Charlie Coyle. This isn't going to be a full-on podcast. Megan is in the car. She's driving around. Definitely an unexpected move here for the Avs, though. I didn't see this one coming. Honestly, I thought today was going to be a quiet day. I've been telling everyone that around the office all day. Like, yeah, nope. Okay. So Aaron Portzline did report a couple minutes ago. I'm going to be jumping around a bit here. We're going to be live for about 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to kind of, react to this as we get the news that comes in here. Still waiting on what the exact return is. Aaron Portzline, who's covered the Blue Jackets for a long time, hearing CBJ parted with 2 draft picks, not first round picks, and a prospect for Coyle. Still awaiting details as the players involved in the trade have not yet been notified as of a few minutes ago. So this does appear like the Avs are just dropping cap space here, freeing up some room by moving Charlie Coyle. We talked about this being a possibility on the pod over the last couple of weeks, but truthfully, I did not see it as something that they would do, just given what you gave up for him, the fact that you traded for a guy who had term, really seemed to give you that center depth that feels like you really need to go deep in the playoffs. And I mean, I guess I was about to say something as like a reason of like, see, but maybe it's that exact verbiage is how the Avs arrived at this conclusion. Jonathan Drouin told us last year in the locker room after the deadline, like what a luxury it is to have a guy like Charlie Coyle as your 3C. So I don't know, maybe the Avs did just say, he's right. This is a luxury and we just can't afford it. Or I guess maybe not even that you can't afford it. There's other ways you can free up cap space, but hey, we see this as an area that we can move on from him and, fill that spot in a cheaper way, in a way that gives us more flexibility. We can split that into a couple different assets. Arif Dean, I wanted to say Mile High Sports. Colorado Hockey Now, used to be a Mile High Sports, makes a point here that if this is clearly just or purely just a clearing cap space, you have to expect that there's going to be more moves coming tonight, this weekend, over the course of the draft as we head into July 1st at the start of next week. Yeah, really interesting. This was not the move I saw them making here, at least not the one to start everything off. But it's going to be interesting to see if they are just purely clearing cap space. What are you going to do with that? What's the quality, of caliber of the prospect coming back? I made the point, I put out a tweet saying, these two teams have done deals together a lot over the last handful of years, not just player deals. There's been a lot of like personnel that goes back and forth. Both Chris McFarland and Jared Bednar were hired out of the system, the organization from Columbus. So like they're familiar with what they're getting from the Blue Jackets. I do like that you send him out east. All right, so I just got a comment on a post here from Anthony talking about Bowen Byram. I was on the phone this morning talking with someone. I still don't know. I was surprised to see Darren Drager put the Avs on the list of teams interested in Bowen Byram. Not that I think that it's not possible. I hadn't talked to anybody about it, so it's no wonder why I didn't hear much about it. But I hadn't heard anything like that, and it does make you start to wonder with some of the stuff that we've heard potentially about moving Girard or Manson. You say, okay, you lock down your 2C, and I started going down the path of saying, okay, I guess that means that the Avs are going to, try to run it back as close as possible, but maybe it is going to end up being a hybrid of what we talked about, in the lead up to that, saying that it's either be aggressive and go for it or, stand pat and try to run it back. Maybe there is a hybrid version of that where you say, okay, we got our 1 and 2 C's locked up, but maybe we are going to refresh that back end a bit. I don't know, Josh Manson, Sam Girard, you package that along with something else, maybe some of these picks that they're getting here in return. Although Corey Massasak, Denver Post, does point out Columbus does not. So Columbus has 2 first-round picks this year. Let's let's see. Let me get that pulled back up just so I've got it in front of me. Columbus does have 2 first-round picks this season. Tonight, they have a third, a fourth, no seconds this year or next. They have 2 second-round picks in 2027, 2 third-round picks in 2027 as well. They also have 2 third-round picks in 2026. So yeah, right now it is being reported that it's not first-round picks. So we'll see. They don't have seconds for a couple of seasons, but where I was going with all that is when you see the Avs name in on a guy like Bowen Byram, that tells you that at bare minimum, there's conversations going on behind the scenes of like, all right, well, what can we do here? How can we shuffle the deck? And I just proposed someone. I haven't heard this anywhere, but I was saying, I wonder if they're thinking something like, okay, can we package up? This is purely hypothetical. Can we package up something like Sam Girard, I don't know, Miles Wood, and you get Bowen Byram? And again, total half-baked idea, but somehow you swap Girard for Byram. You give Byram an extension in the neighborhood of what Girard is at, and you kind of just get yourself a little bit younger, refresh it. Again, I'm not advocating for that. I'm not saying I've heard that, but I said, I wonder if that's the thought process going on. And this could be kind of the first domino where, yeah, we're going to clear some space, get some assets here so we can continue to shuffle things around. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there as we haven't even seen what the return is. And we'll see if what the Avs are giving up on their side as well in terms of assets, prospects. I don't know, maybe depending on what picks you're getting back, maybe you're swapping something that you've got here tonight. So we'll still see. But yeah, like I said, this one definitely caught me a bit off guard, knowing that they were going to make some moves. But I really thought that with what you gave up, the fact they had the term and what seemed like something they really liked and prioritized in having really great center depth, some of the best in the league, I'm surprised to see this be the first domino to fall. Whew. I've been sick all week, so I may even have to go get up and get more water here in a minute. I'm not sick anymore, but it's the first time I'm talking like this since I got sick. And yeah, you see what level of prospect you get back. Let's see here. Let me go through these comments real fast. I don't think you can say he clearly lost any of those. You have to wait to see what pans out of almost all this. You have to see what comes back in this Charlie Coyle deal. The Middlestat one is a bummer. I guess Middlestat and Coyle trade were kind of the same, depending on which leg of the Middlestat trade you're talking about. You have to see how these trades pan out. Yeah, there's a lot more shuffling going on right now than I think a lot of fans are used to. But like I've talked about before, the Avs won a Stanley Cup, and you're now in the mode where, okay, you did everything. You poured everything you could into getting over the hump that once, which is so difficult to do. So you pour everything into that. And I actually had this conversation with someone recently about, you look at the Florida Panthers these last couple seasons and how they were able to build on their team from the previous season. And it just felt like the Avs never got the opportunity to do that with the Gabe Landeskog thing. Their championship coming right as the salary cap completely flattened out. There were multi-year projections and, saying this is where the cap is going to go. And it suddenly wasn't. So, there were a lot of things that stacked against the Avs really quickly. And so they've had to scramble and really, really get creative with the way they've shuffled the deck. And yeah, you're going to take some risks when you do that. And you're not going to come out, fleecing every GM and every trade. The Avs had a nice long stretch, when Joe Sakic was he still obviously functions very heavily in the day-to-day operations, but when he had the title of GM, yeah, there were a lot of trades that felt like they were coming out lopsided, but you have to remember the Avs in 5 seasons went from being the worst team in modern NHL history to Stanley Cup champions. They had a lot of assets. So there was a lot of wheeling and dealing that was going on. And the reason you don't remember that stuff or get as upset about it is because a lot of those prospects and players that they were, dealing that were part of futures deals really haven't panned out to be very much. See Drew Hellison, see Justin Barron, things like that. And now, so you did all of that to get the one championship. You get past that. You have the flat cap. You have the Gabe Landeskog situation. You have the Val Nichushkin situation. And yeah, you're going to have to do some shuffling of the deck every now and then. And it's not always going to come out great. But you got to wait to see how everything pans out. Wait to see what they do this season. I'm not seeing anything official in terms of what the return is yet. Maybe I'm just missing it. I've seen what folks are saying in the chat, but I am not seeing anything officially out there from a reliable. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not seeing it. I think Pierre was on this first. Yeah. What's in the chat is a couple of thirds and Jordan Dumais. But again, I haven't seen that official anywhere. Yep, and see, like I'm out of water. I'm gonna get in trouble here. Like myself, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm with you here. I was looking forward to seeing Charlie Coyle really settle into that role there. I said, wow, the Avs can really, again, there's been so much talk around the Florida Panthers third line and how much they were able to impact not just individual games, but the entire series. And I said, wow, maybe the Avs could put something together like that. And again, we'll see what happens here the rest of the weekend. We'll see what assets they get back and what they do with those assets. But okay, yeah, still nothing. I have not seen any official reports on what the return is. No, thanks for hanging out, guys. Yeah, no, definitely apologize. This was definitely a weird week in terms of normally for draft week, there's a lot of prep that goes into it, and been very lucky the last handful of years. You're getting on a plane a couple days before the draft because there's usually events that happen in the lead up, and so you're just kind of inundated. Everything's about the draft and awards and all that stuff the whole week, and this just wasn't really the case this year with the decentralized draft. And then on top of that, the Avs having 2 picks in the whole draft as of right now. So it's definitely been weird because there just really hasn't been much to talk about. There really hasn't been much for us who cover the Avs to preview. So thanks for jumping on and hanging out. Looking forward to a fun night. Megan Angley and I will be down at Ball Arena where we may hear from Chris McFarland. Not sure. He's either going to talk to Miles Wood, also included in the trade. So there you go. Breaking news per Pierre LeBrun. Miles Wood also involved in this trade, sending Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood to Columbus. We have not heard the return yet. I was talking with another very smart media member, and I'll text him to see if he'll let me say who it was. But he said, I wonder if there's something else going on here. That's why we haven't heard the return yet. I wonder if this is bigger. Wow. All right. So the Avs have now, again, without seeing what's coming back, you are clearing. The Avs currently, before this trade, sat with $1.2 million in cap space. They have just moved Miles Wood, $2.5 million, and Charlie Coyle, $5.25 million to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So let's see here. So that's 7.75 that you're adding to 1.2. You are sitting just south of $9 million. If my quick off the top of my head math is correct. You're sitting just under $9 million in cap space after this move before we see what the return is. Wow, that is significant. That is significant. Which now makes me wonder about if, I don't know. I'll say the report that we initially saw about the 2 draft picks. Here we go. A second in 2027, a third this year, and Gavin Brindley, per Elliot Friedman. Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood to Columbus for a second round pick in 2027, a third round pick this weekend, and prospect Gavin Bradley. Sorry, guys. Gotta work really fast. Barely at all. Fucking tweeting. Sorry, guys. Gotta work. Gotta tweet. I just got a picture of my niece, which is also pressing. My niece is. Oh, cute. All right. Wow. The Avs just, something is in the works. The Avs now sit with just south of $9 million in cap space. Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a second round pick in 2027, a third round pick this weekend, and prospect Gavin Brindley 20 years old, former second round pick, 35th overall from the Blue Jackets, undersized winger, no doubt about it, coming in at 5'9", 168. All right. Good for him. 20 years old. So Avs pick up a prospect. They clear $9 million in caps, or clear themselves to $9 million in cap space, clear about 7.75 worth of salary by moving Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood in the same deal to the Columbus Blue Jackets. That has to tell you that they have something in the works. There's a free agent they're pursuing. There's a trade that they're trying to get worked out. There's an internal free agent they're trying to bring back. Ryan Lindgren, whatever it may be. I just saw a comment come through in the chat. No 2C again. Brock Nelson still exists. Here we go. Let's do this really fast. The ads are never ending. Gonna pull this up for Gavin Brindley. So yeah, definitely a prospect. Don't imagine that there's going to be a hard push for him to make the Avs opening night lineup here. So this does right now strike me as a pure cap dump for the Colorado Avalanche. Here's Gavin Brindley's Elite Prospects page, just to give you a quick little snapshot of who he is. Has made his NHL debut, but did spend last season with the Cleveland Monsters. 6 goals, 17 points. Now, look, here is the one thing I will say, and I used to always say this about Rocco Grimaldi. Maybe they're not going to be, they're not going to light it up at the NHL level, but to be a player that size and to even make it to pro hockey and put up even 6 goals, 17 points, you are a highly, highly skilled individual. So there's the prospect that the Avs pick up in addition to a second round pick 2 seasons from now and a third round pick for this weekend. Now giving them 3 picks on the weekend. But again, something tells me for the Avs to run up that kind of a cap dump, That means that I think that means there is plenty more in the works here. Let's see if we've gotten an updated exact total. Boom, there it is. My quick math was right. The Avs now sit with $8,950,000 worth of salary cap space right now, as well as a third and fourth round pick this weekend. Suddenly, as assets, all things that you can use. Miles Wood, we always knew that one was coming. We figured that trade would get done, if not before this weekend, definitely this weekend, to be able to stack Charlie Coyle on top of that. That really means you don't have a lot of, work that you suddenly need to do. You didn't pull the ripcord on a bunch of spots. It's like, okay, well, you cleared up a bunch of cap space, but now you have a bunch of holes you got to go plug. No, you're back into a 3C issue, which those could be a dime a dozen depending on the offseason. So I think this is a tidy piece of business by Chris MacFarland, especially when you consider what we were talking about earlier. Like, you're in this space now where this is your reality. You have to shuffle the cards around. The Avs are, as is every team, going to get a huge boost from this, the booming salary cap over the next couple of seasons. This is your reality for right now. And genuinely, I'm not trying to be a homer, anything like that. But I think Chris MacFarland, given the situation that he's been in, I think he's done a great job of moving things around and putting this team in a space to be competitive. It was a disappointing finish to last season, no doubt about it. But you're kidding yourself if you don't think that was a team that could have at very least gone deep. I don't know if anybody could have beat Florida, but that was a team top to bottom on paper that could have gone the distance. The fact that Chris MacFarland has been able to do that, or was able to put that roster together, given the circumstances, was impressive. And I'm anxious to see what he's going to do here, because he just created some room for himself and got himself some assets. And this front office has shown they are going to be aggressive. They are going to be aggressive. I really like this one. Sorry, hold on. Got to work real fast again. Got to tweet. 8.95 in cap space. There you go. All right. So, yeah, the Avs moved Charlie Coyle, Miles Wood to the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for a 2027 second round pick, third round pick this weekend, as well as Gavin Brindley. Megan Angley tweeting out, loves Gavin Brindley as a player. She will have more on him shortly. And okay. All right. Well, there we go. I think that's a great move for the Avs to get their weekend started. Yeah, I think that's a really tidy piece of business and an impressive way to get out of a couple of contracts that were going to cause some problems for you. Look, I liked Charlie Coyle a lot as a player here. I actually thought he was a great fit. I know he didn't have the best playoff series against the Stars, but I was really curious to see what he was going to do this upcoming season. But again, I talked about it. Jonathan Drouin described him to me as a luxury last year. He said, what a luxury to have a guy like Charlie Coyle on your third line. Maybe Chris MacFarland took a step back and he said, he's right. It's a luxury. We can bolster our depth elsewhere, and we have someone that we think can be as effective as Charlie Coyle in that spot, given if we put this roster together the right way. The Avs on this deal cleared up $7.75 million worth of cap space. They now sit with $8.95 in total salary cap room heading into night one of the draft, as well as being armed with 3 draft picks on the weekend that I have predicted over and over. The Avs are still going to move some of those. Yeah, they only have 3. I think Chris McFarland's going to be looking to move them either way. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks so much for jumping on and hanging out. It's a quick one here. We'll have more content coming your guys' way tonight from Ball Arena, as when we expect to hear from Chris McFarland, especially if dominoes continue to fall. And hey, I'll tell you what, if they do something else before I leave in an hour and a half, we'll jump back on here and do it again. Thanks so much, everybody. Talk to you tonight.